It's 7 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Thursday, August 21st, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights and hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to talk with Rose Pugliese, top Republican in the House of Representatives in Colorado, as they face a special session. We're going to get the latest from her. What are they expecting to see? What are Democrats, Republicans introducing? Dozens and dozens of bills during the special session. And what does she expect to see come out of it? But first, joining us now, Mike Boyle, host of the Mike Boyle Restaurant Show, because tonight's a big night. It's the Taste of Douglas County. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Bill. Hey, thanks for having me on. You know, things have come together very well for this 23rd annual Taste of Douglas County. And I woke up this morning and I was just reflecting, it started out as a way 23 years ago to introduce people moving into the county to learn about the wonderful restaurants we have down here. And yet it's almost transitioned into just a nice, inexpensive social night out. And so ticket sales are reflecting that. So it's a big part of it is because of the push that you guys have given it. Peter Boyles has given it. Want to thank the publications that have given it some good publicity. So it's just going to be a wonderful evening.
tasteofdouglascounty.com, tasteofdouglascounty.com. Go there, get your tickets, only $10. If you wait until it starts, you're going to pay $20 at the door. So $10, so many restaurants. My family's going to be there. And basically what I told the kids this morning was, Mike, that they're just go eat whatever you like. They got ice cream, they've got burgers, they've got soda. Go have a ton of fun, and the kids are going to love it.
Well, and Jeff, I think the Douglas County Douglas County Event Center is an indoor air-conditioned facility. So you will be working every once in a while doing some cut-ins. You'll be schmoozing. Bill, you'll be wandering around. You'll be behind the Grinelli's Pizza table helping those guys. I know you like to do that. But the kids can wander around, and we've got a band that plays very nice background music. And, yes, the $10 ticket includes admission and food and beverages. And it's not a pinky in the air type of environment where you have to dress up. We're going to have Crave Real Burgers. I mentioned Grinelli's Pizza. We're going to have people like Dan and Adam from Manor Restaurant at the Castle Rock Adventist Hospital. These guys are top-of-the-line chefs. The View House always brings Chef Alex and puts out great, great stuff. So, there's something really for everybody. Pepsi sponsors it. There'll be a jillion Pepsi beverages there. We have Rockyard Brewery going to be there as well. Bimbo Bakery is always there passing out stuff. So we've got ice cream from we've got ice cream from Dairy Queen, but maybe you want to get upscale a little bit and have yourself a gelato. We've got Gelato & Co. So we've got something really pretty much for everybody.
Yeah, see, I'm going to have to go and test out that Dairy Queen ice cream and then go and test the gelato and see which is better. And then I'm going to have to go back and test again just to make sure that I'm right. And then just for scientific purposes, I'm going to have to test a third time. It's in the interest of science, of course. It's not because I'm a
Bill
fat
and
ass.
I will be there, and they've got mead, so Bill will be full of ice cream and mead. It's going to be a ton of fun. Tasteofdouglascounty.com, tasteofdouglascounty.com. Tonight at the Douglas County Event Center, 5 to 8 p.m. Get your tickets. We'll be there. Peter Boyles will be there. Most importantly, Mike Boyle, the guy that puts this all together, will be there. It's so much fun. You're not going to want to miss it. Mike, thank you for the time this morning,
Yeah,
sir.
thanks, Mike. We'll hang out with you this afternoon. I look forward to it.
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys, and I really appreciate you guys helping us out.
Absolutely.
Hey,
it's a ton of fun.
Jeff, I love the fact that you're going to be bringing the Hunt family along with you.
Kids will be there.
I pitched it to my family, and they went, yeah, no. And I went, why? And they said, you understand that we'd have to go into public and people would know we are associated with you. It's difficult enough for us when we can just randomly walk away and not participate in whatever the hell you're doing. But now people would know we're attached to you? Like, no, we're not doing that.
And when I told the kids it's like 30 restaurants, you just go eat as much as you want.
Yeah.
Like, what? $10?
Yeah. It's fantastic.
I mean, that's just I mean, if we go out to a restaurant, we as a family are going to spend close to $200. It's crazy with the amount of people I have to feed. So $10 is just remarkable.
Yeah, and this is going to be very relaxed. I'm even thinking of breaking out, as my father used to say, the short pants. It wasn't shorts, it was short pants. So, yes, I may be flashing some skin at the Taste of Douglas County. Okay, it's not necessarily for sharing, but it's hot. Have you seen the temperatures? So, yeah, but it's air conditioned inside, so I may actually be rocking shorts. I don't know. I'll have to see if I make that fashion disaster happen today. We'll see.
It'll be a ton of fun. Now it's time for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, News and Comment.
Good Thursday morning, 64 and sunny, gorgeous. Expecting a high of 96 today, so it's going to be a short pants day. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, founder of Focus on the Family, Dr. James Dobson, has passed away at the age of 89. He spread the gospel and promoted the most important institute in our country, the family, and wrote some incredible books along the way, including The Strong-Willed Child.
Yeah.
Yes,
have you ever read? Have you read that book?
I have read part of it, and I need to read it again. Honestly.
So, great little side story. We were at an event, and my wife and I were seated at a table with Dr. Dobson and his wife and his daughter. And we were chatting because we had just read The Strong-Willed Child, because I have a particular child that was a little strong-willed at this point. And
Same
so
here.
we go, Dr. Dobson, we want to thank you. That book was fantastic. We appreciate it. And he just goes, you want to know the person who inspired this book? She's sitting right here. And we all had a good laugh. And
that's cool.
She loved him. And I'm reading right now just about his legacy. And he writes this. He writes, I've concluded that the accumulation of wealth, even if I could achieve it, is an insufficient reason for living. When I reach the end of my days, a moment or two from now, I must look backward on something more meaningful than the pursuit of houses, of land, of machines and stocks and bonds, nor is fame of any lasting benefit. I will consider my earthly existence to have been wasted unless I can recall a loving family, a consistent investment in the lives of people, and an earnest attempt to serve God who made me. Nothing else makes much sense. And that was Jim Dobson reflecting upon his legacy. And I can tell you, he was incredibly kind to my wife and I, who are nobodies. And his family loved him. So I think he achieved exactly what he wanted to at the end of his life.
Man, that is awesome. I am so glad that you told us last hour. Jeff let us know. And that is big news. He was so important to the community and believers all around the world. So he passes away at the age of 89.
And Blake, we're going to go directly to the House Minority Leader now. She's joining us as she's got a very busy day at the launch of the session. So I apologize. We'll get to News and Comment with Blake Olson a little bit later. But Rose Pugliese, House Minority Leader, very busy day. Honored to have her joining us, taking time out of her day as they're about to kick off a special session. Madam House Minority Leader, thank you for taking time to join us.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning to both of you. Thank you so much for having me jump on real quick.
Yeah, I know it's a very busy, demanding day for you. Tell folks what this special session is all about and what you're expecting Jared Polis and the Democrats to try to get out of it.
Well, Democrats do not want, as the speaker said, a good crisis to go to waste. So they're blaming their budget shortfalls on HR 1, and this is a very premature special session. We do have a budget deficit. We will continue to have budget deficits as long as the Democrats continue to spend more than they take in. But what I think is really disappointing is that the Democrats are basically going to run bills to raise money on the backs of hardworking Coloradans at a time when people are struggling so much. So Republicans have solutions that involve cuts and how we can find efficiencies in government, and Democrats just want to tax you more.
That's Rose Pugliese, House Minority Leader, joining Jeff and Bill before the special session starts today. You thought a bunch of the school kids were getting mad about going back to school early. This sucks for them. And pay attention to all the news coverage, because the narrative in this is the Democrats coming to the table wanting to expand spending during a special session that's supposed to cut spending. Now, Rose Pugliese, House Minority Leader, correct me if I'm wrong, but I am reading that somewhere around 50 to 70% of this current budget deficit existed before Trump's big, beautiful bill. I'm seeing numbers around 600 to 700 million being the pre-existing deficit before the big, beautiful bill passed. And the reason I bring that up, I want to see if I'm correct, is it would destroy the narrative of the Democrats saying this is Trump doing it to us. Are those numbers correct that I've been reading?
I believe those numbers are correct. So the Joint Budget Committee had a briefing on June 18th where the forecast was we were going to have a $700 million shortfall. If you remember, last budget cycle, we had a $1.2 billion shortfall. The problem is they didn't make any cuts, right? Democrats did not want to make cuts. So instead, they used one-time money to fill those gaps and use reserves. Well, you only use reserves when you're overspending. So that's how they fixed that budget crisis. Well, now, and this is something that I found to be really interesting that I don't think a lot of people don't know, and I think we've talked about this before, but the budget only needs to be balanced per the Constitution twice, right? Once when the budget's signed into law by the governor, and then the second time during supplementals. And so we were out of budget in June, way before H.R. 1 had even gotten signed into law. And H.R. 1, those tax cuts don't go into effect until 26. Most of them go into effect in 27. So these are issues that Democrats created that were already issues. But again, don't let a good crisis go to waste. Let's just blame it on H.R. 1. And that's completely out of line.
That's Rose Pugliese joining us today. She's the top Republican in the Colorado House of Representatives as we're going into a special session. Now, Democrats pushing through billions in spending adjustments. I mean, there's a lot of bills, and the Gazette has a good list of them. I mean, 50, 60 bills it looks like. But what are the biggest red flags you see in the Democrat approach?
One of the big issues for small business is that they want to eliminate the vendor fee, which will affect a lot of small businesses. Again, making small businesses pay more doesn't help with our budget crisis. I want to say my biggest disappointment, I didn't want to come back to the special session. We all know that. I was very vocal about that. I also think we're not following the right process. These aren't emergent needs. These are needs that could have gone through the Joint Budget Committee in a bipartisan way and try to find some solutions going forward. Republicans have had solutions. We have had millions of dollars worth of cuts that when we litigated the long bill, none of those were considered. And so now we find ourselves in this budget crisis yet again. But what was most disappointing to me is that the governor's call was so specific that it didn't allow Republicans to come to the table with cuts. It didn't allow some of the ideas that we have that actually help hardworking Coloradans to move forward. And I think that's what's really disappointing about this session. They're going to continue to find ways to raise revenue. Well, raise revenue means on the backs of hardworking Coloradans, as opposed to cutting overspending and actually balancing the budget correctly.
We just saw a poll released yesterday, I believe, that points to the biggest problems that Coloradans believe we are facing. Number one, that the government doesn't work for them. Number two, the cost of living across everything from health care to property taxes to the ability to afford a home to groceries is just too high. So it's too expensive to live in the state, and the government's not working for them. Do you think Democrats are more focused on protecting their kind of special government programs than they are protecting Coloradans, delivering for Coloradans, cutting the regulations that are driving up all these costs?
You know, it's funny. I met with some business owners yesterday to just talk about some of their issues. And overregulation is the number one issue. They say, we can't grow our business. We don't even know if we can stay in Colorado anymore because it no longer is a viable option for us in order to do business here. That is really sad for Colorado. That is sad for not just our employers, but our employees throughout the state. when do we start prioritizing the people of Colorado? And that's what this special session should be about, but it's not what it will be about. And I think it's a real disservice to the people who, if you talk to them and you ask them what they need in order to make ends meet in Colorado, they need less regulation, they need more money in their pockets, and they need government to run more efficiently. And that none of those things, while Republicans will bring forward those solutions, I doubt you'll see any of those actually become law.
I think it's so critical for Republicans to provide an alternative agenda here because it's clearly not working for the people of Colorado, and we can have a much longer conversation as to why they can complain about the direction of Colorado and then continue to vote for Democrats. But one question that we get from listeners, people texting in, is can you do stuff like maybe the Democrats did down in Texas? Can you flee the state? Can you run away and interrupt and try to stop this agenda that's taking place because the Democrats have total control of the state legislature? What can you do as Republicans to fight back against this Democrat legislature?
So running away isn't generally my first preference. I think the people want Republicans to continue to be the adults in the room. They want us to bring forward our solutions. They want us to be able to message not just inside the Capitol, but outside, which is why I appreciate the two of you so much, Jeff and Bill, for giving me this opportunity to help educate the public. I think passing the word through the grassroots movement is so important so that people really know what's going on in Colorado. But they're also feeling it, right? They know they can't make ends meet. They're working multiple jobs. They cannot afford to live here. And it sounds like it's going on deaf ears. But we are going to continue to fight. We're going to make the voices of the people heard. Depending on how this session goes, what I'm really hoping for, and I've talked about this before with you all, but outside as well, is my goal is to make sure that we don't get shut down, that we are able to advocate for our people and bring our solutions forward, even if our bills don't move forward. But I think making sure we can educate the public as to what's really going on in government and getting them to rally around us like they did with Proposition HH when we so handily defeated it. That was because we educated the people, and I think we need to continue to do that.
That's Rose Pugliese, House Minority Leader, joining us this morning as they're about to kick off just in a few hours this special session called by the governor because they're facing a $1 billion budget deficit. Democrats blaming Trump, Republicans pointing out the spending, the massive spending increase that's taking place under Jared Polis's watch. We're going to continue to follow all of this. It's been a real honor that you've taken time to join us just before this all kicks off. Rose Pugliese,
yes,
top Republican down there in the Colorado House of Representatives. Thank you again for taking time to join us.
Yes, and keep asking those Democrats, don't they understand this is about cutting numbers? When we increase the number, do you understand how math works? Just ask them. I'm not certain they do.
Yes. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think we have to raise our math scores throughout all of Colorado. But thank you so much. Seriously, truly, I'm incredibly honored that you give me this opportunity to help educate your listeners. And thank you for being there for us.
Follow Rose Pugliese on all the latest on X.com at Rose for CO, and we'll continue to track all this. We got Scott Shamblin coming up in the 8 o'clock hour about how they are essentially going to be driving this effort to make sure that in the midst of all these cuts that the state has to come up with, God forbid we stop killing babies. They want to make sure that your tax dollars go to baby killing and trans surgeries. So we'll talk to Scott Shamblin coming up. But lots of questions for our listeners here, right? Do you think Governor Polis is fixing problems? Or is he creating them?
The other one I would put on there is rather than I would do fixing, is he fixing problems? Is he creating? Or is he trying to pass the buck? Because we know that he does have the ability through executive order to make these type of budgetary changes in a deficit. Governor Owens did. So there is precedent and there is a system to do this. But he is not. And here's the thing. What do you think would be more efficient? I'm not talking about, just for our listeners, what would be the best possible solution to get you to where you want to go. I'm just talking about efficiency. If you needed to close a budget hole efficiently in your family budget, in your work budget, whatever it is, would you give one person the ability to do that, or would you do it through community?
Yeah,
and the idea of having meetings and debates and discussion. I'm not talking about coming to what you think is the right conclusion. I'm talking about efficiency.
Right. So,
yeah.
I mean, you painted a brilliant vision in my mind. It's like, are we going to sit down as a family and everybody's going to talk about where the money's going and how important this is? Or does dad just need to come in and go, it's a 2% cut with all of you?
Yeah.
And give me a beer.
Yeah, exactly. And while there are going to be people whose feelings are hurt and you may actually cut out things that could be beneficial, the cuts would be done and then the budget is at an equilibrium, because I have a hard time, even in my family budget, arguing over priorities when you're operating at a deficit. When you're operating at a deficit, priorities need to go out the window because you're in a deficit. That's it. That's how it works. It's that simple. But again, when you get to play in state politics and national, it's not that easy. They don't care necessarily about deficits. They're just
exactly
inconvenience.
Right. No, it's funny money at that point.
Yeah.
Phone lines are open, 303-696-1971, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Campbell Law text line, 720-819-5115. Today, kicking off a big special session down at the Colorado State Capitol. Democrats want to increase taxes. Republicans want to cut spending. Where does this go? Who do you trust? I think at the end of this, as we all come out of it, you are going to be paying more taxes. And they may even call it fees to try to make you feel better. All right. An area you can spend money that's actually going to deliver for your home and make life better for you is Gyrie's. Wife and I went to go visit Gyrie's for the first time. I'd never been in one, and it was like my eyes were open to a whole new world. Oftentimes when it comes to improving our home, I was kind of left on our own, and I'd wander around Home Depot, and I don't really know. There's so many different types of paints, and you're kind of stuck there, and you kind of feel a little awkward asking people for help. And then on the other extreme, you had like Extreme Home Makeover Edition, where television shows show up and make your home pretty. And so that's, I thought, was the world we lived in. Well, there was this beautiful new option called Gyrie's that allowed us to walk into a store, talk to a personal design consultant who answered all my wife's questions. We walked through all the different types of custom blinds, shades, shutters, different paint options, home decor. I mean, we got real personal attention. And then they came out to our house, brought samples, brought paint samples, blind samples, so we could see what it would look like in our home with the color of our house. And it's been remarkable. Personalized attention through every aspect of our design process. The designers are experts and can help you with everything from window treatments to full room decor. Guys, here's my advice to you. Just take your wife and let her just go with all the questions, all the creativity, all the different options she can bring to the home, and then figure out what you can do, right? But why not have that personalized designed in-home consultation? So you can get the same expert advice I'm getting right now in your own home. Do yourself a favor. Get started today. Visit GuyRees.com to schedule your in-home consultation. That's spelled GUIRYS.com, GUIRYS.com. Go see the great people at Gyrie's. You'll be sure to thank me. We'll get to your phone calls and texts. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show on 710 KNUS, your left, right, and center debate show, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. Today we're kicking off with the Colorado Legislature's so-called special session down at the Capitol. Governor Pugliese has called lawmakers back, saying the state faces budget pressure and new federal tax law changes. But let's be honest here, this is less about fixing real problems and more about ramming through a progressive wish list while no one's really watching because it's August. Here's what's on the table: billions in state spending, tweaks to property tax relief, and of course, attempts to funnel even more money into Democrat priorities. Republicans are saying that this is just a political stunt, too rushed, too expensive, and too out of touch with the families who are already paying the price of bad policies. So lots of questions here. Bill, I'm going to ask you this one. Who do you trust more with the budget, Democrats or Republicans?
Can I go with C, none of the above? Because I don't trust either one of them, honestly. But again, that's my little island that I sit on. I have been open since the very first time you and I cracked these microphones together. I hate both parties. It's not that I hate the people. I hate the party and the structure, and I would burn them both down if I could.
Choose one. Come on, Bill. Choose one. I'm going to hold you down. I'm going to pin you down.
I know. The thing is,
Who
I hate
do you
both.
trust with the state budget, Democrats or Republicans?
Neither.
You
Because
got to trust one or more, or one or the other. Who do you trust more?
I don't.
You can't say
No.
one. Come on.
No, I
say
literally
Republicans.
don't.
Say Republicans.
I know that's where you're going with me.
Come on.
The thing is,
you know you want to say it.
No.
You know you
I
want to
don't.
say it.
No, because there are certain priorities the Republicans have that I think are very, very good, and there are certain priorities the Democrats have that I think are good. And for me, the best functioning is for them to fight it out, and in that middle where they can fight agreement, they're going to do the most possible good because you're going to get the extraneous stuff on either side messed out.
You would want like a split house.
Oh, hell yeah.
You would like a Republican Senate, for instance, and a Democrat House.
Yes. And in all honesty, the closer inside of each body you can get to 50-50, the happier I am. Again, because in part I feel that the most good will be done in that center lane, and you cut off the extraneous stuff you can't do. And when you're forced to get something done by talking to the people you disagree with, I think that's a good exercise. I think that's really, really good, especially for politicians. And if we want to talk about them not having the ability to spend money on these pet projects and weird things that you may or may not agree with based on your political ideology, the way that's mostly constrained is by a group that's mostly 50-50 because they have to in order to get anything done. And that's what I really strive for. I don't trust either one. I don't, because I've seen budgets explode under both party leadership. So that's why I don't fundamentally trust either one. But I understand that is a personal failing of my own. That's why I sit on my own island, and that's why I don't go along with either party. That's why neither one of them ever invite me to speak at any particular group. I'm never going to get invited to a Rotary Club, never going to get invited to Kiwanis, never. They're never going to ask me to speak.
But trivia night at the bars, absolutely. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Joe in Arvada. Joe, do you trust Pugliese with your tax dollars?
We don't trust either one of them. Neither. I'm with Billy on this. Don't trust Republicans either. What did Margaret Thatcher say? Sooner or later, you run out of other people's money.
I love that line. I love that line. Nicely done.
Well, there's also the examples from our founders. If you look back, one of the biggest worries about the founders is that there would be overtaxation and then not balancing the budget. This is why we need, as the people, just like we did with the Tabor Amendment, we also need to now come back with the other half of the Tabor Amendment, the balanced budget amendment. You could call it the Joe from Arvada balanced buddy.
I think we have a ballot. I mean, that's why we have to do the special session. Otherwise, they'd just be like, deficit.
Well, I have another solution. I think what we need to do is called the rich Democrat partition. What we need to do is, because the rich Democrats are avidly seeking all of this extra money, what we should do is issue a bond. Jared Polis, you love all this stuff that's costing billions of dollars extra. We should be able to say, okay, if voluntarily all the rich Democrats like you, Jared, should partition half of their earnings, half of their wealth towards the budget. And then we'll issue you a bond. And then you can also have the illegals issue them some credit to pay it. If you can get them to pay it back, you're fine. So, in other words, there's $600 million missing. Well, I'm looking over here. Jared Polis, you seem to be quite wealthy. Let's just take half of your wealth as a loan, and then you can have your other Democrats pay it back to you. And it should only be Democrats, because Republicans want a balanced budget. We don't want this. And so since you guys want to just keep spending, you should have to pay it back. And then we should shame you into putting up the money by doxing what you gave. Jared Polis, you've given nothing. You've just taken from the community. You take in the form of fees.
But Joe, help me understand this, all right? Because this is the real central question. Yesterday, there was a poll released that talked about how fed up Coloradans are because they don't feel like the government works for them and everything's so expensive. And we're going to go into a special session where Democrats have total control, and everything that they're putting out there right now is likely going to increase taxes on people in order to cut this budget hole. They don't want to cut spending. They want to increase taxes. And Joe, there's another article from the New York Times we're going to get to later where voters all over the country are supporting Republicans at higher numbers, except in this state. How is it that you have people frustrated with the direction of the state, complaining about everything so expensive, outright saying that the government doesn't work for them, and then they continue to vote for Democrats?
Or do they? That's the real question. Why is Jenna Griswold, Jenna Griswold crying her eyes out that they might go to paper ballots? We need to steal that election. That's why we need to steal that election, because nobody really wants your policy. Nobody really wants your platform. Nobody really wants to pay your overage. You just keep spending and spending and spending. Nobody wants to pay, but so we can rig the ballot.
But Joe, I understand that, and believe me, my social media feeds, when I put out this complaint, are full of that response right there. But Joe, I got to tell you, I went down to the Bernie Sanders rally, 30,000 people. They weren't all paid. They were like these weird boomers that hate Donald Trump, love Democrats, and they seem to have all come to the state of Colorado. I mean, 30,000 for Bernie Sanders. I mean, Mitt Romney pulled in 9,000 at Red Rocks. I mean, nobody had been nearly as big of a political turnout that I've seen in decades in Colorado, and they were out for Bernie Sanders. I actually think our electorate is this Democrat. And then they all complain about it. It's weird to me.
I agree. I also think every one of these people that wants unlimited socialism, unlimited spending, should be issued an idiot ticket. You should get an idiot ticket for $1,000. If you're at a Bernie Sanders rally, you should get an idiot ticket for exactly $1,000. That way we can collect on idiots, and then we can collect on the unmitigated spending Democrat, Jared Polis, and then we can have the newspapers dox their names if they don't pay up and give their addresses and phone numbers so we can all bother them.
Idiot tickets.
Would
there
be
you
a great
go.
world.
I like the idiot tickets. Now, Joe, I got to ask you, and I want to ask Jeff this the same, and I'd love to have the audience chime in on this as well, because I'm concerned that some of what I'm hearing from the Colorado GOP is a continued exercise in self-delusion. I'm worried that members of the Colorado GOP continue to tell themselves narratives in order to ignore reality. And what I mean by that is your tongue-in-cheek supposition about Democrats stealing the election. I understand why there's a concern about there, but so far we haven't seen any proof. And what I'm worried about is that instead of the Colorado GOP looking in the mirror and asking themselves, why isn't our message resonating with the average voter, even though we seem to be correct on issues X, Y, and Z? But instead, they run around about stolen election. And what I'm worried about is if you complain about this election being fixed, then you don't have to question your own party's behavior, platform, or lack of participation from voters. So is this an exercise in self-delusion? Are we just avoiding the fact by just saying it's got to be rigged and that's why we lose? Are we just being those fourth graders on the soccer field complaining that the ref liked the other team better than they liked us? That's why we lost. Not because we as a team underperformed and couldn't score a goal.
And look, Bill, it's a fair critique, but when I look at this New York Times article where it's like Republicans everywhere up, except for Colorado, I just kind of go, okay, I understand. Maybe we're getting it wrong. Maybe you can blame the party. Maybe you can do all that too. But it seems a little weird that everywhere else, everyone's seeing gains with Republicans except for Colorado. Joe, your thoughts?
Well, I think part of it, too, is the mass idiot evacuation is coming to us. You have people that they know they can't live in New York or California, so you have to have a mass idiot evacuation into Colorado where you can steal all their money until there's another state, maybe Wyoming's next, where you can move all the mass idiots to Wyoming. Although they will ticket and jail them, I'm sure. Anyway, the thing is that I agree with you, Billy. It is somewhat silly, but on the other hand, it does shame the embarrassing governor into coming to reality. Sometimes you have to announce that the emperor has no clothes before you can get change, and I think that of this is common sense that needs to be exposed. And yes, if you do it with a little humor like Reagan did, you put the spotlight on them, how dumb they really are. And then I think the truth is, you're right. We have to get down to number crunching where we actually cut the budget. What we also need to do is shame the voter into voting for reality. You can't just keep spending other people's monies and it's not coming from anywhere. We know it has to come from us. The point is that it's going to come from us one way or the other, through a lie or through the truth.
Joe, appreciate the call. Go ahead, real quick.
Well, the lie is you can keep spending other people's money forever. The truth is, eventually you run out.
Yeah, and I so wish there would be this kind of moment of coming to reality where you look at our state is spending more than ever. It's taxing more than ever. It's getting more expensive to live here. It's just not working. And maybe you're not a dyed-in-the-wool Republican like I am that's just ready to go all in, full Republican control. I get it. Okay, whatever. But can I at least get you to where Bill is? Where Bill goes, can we have maybe some balance down there and flip one of the houses, either the House of Representatives, the Senate, so it's not always spend, tax. Join the conversation, 303-696-1971, or text us at 720-819-5115. Let's talk, my friends, at Mountain High Appliance. They've got a huge summer clearance blowout sale at all their locations, including their Denver Clearance Center. Check out their display models, closeouts, scratch and dents from brands like GE, LG, Bosch, and more. Enjoy their special financing options and price match guarantee. Why would you go anywhere else? Great service coming from the folks at Mountain High Appliance. Experience the difference today. And when you think appliances, think locally owned Mountain High Appliance. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Today, a special session kicks off down at the Colorado State Capitol. Democrats saying it's the Republicans in Congress and their changes to the tax formula that's resulted in us having $1 billion deficit. And so we need to raise taxes in Colorado.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's very important on the numbers, and again, I'm not exactly sure on these, but from what I'm seeing, 50 to 70% of the potential budgetary shortfall existed prior to the big, beautiful bill. I'm seeing numbers between 6 and 700 million. Again, I don't know the accuracy, so I'm not bringing a specific number, and I'm saying that I may be wrong about this, so understand. But those are the numbers that I have seen. I haven't personally verified them, but I'm going to go with them right now. But that means we had a 6 to 700 $1 million shortfall before Trump's big, beautiful bill passed. So when the Democrats come out and say that it's Trump's fault, I believe they're scapegoating because they knew this was coming prior. They only now have a very convenient excuse at this point.
It works in this state.
Oh, does it ever? It works universally. I mean, we can go to all sorts of things with other different policies and programs that if someone makes this type of a statement, happens. This is politics. They're playing politics.
It works in the corporate world, too. It's not my fault. It's their fault.
Absolutely.
But it does work here, and this is a bit of a personal thing for me. When I post on X about the problems and the directions of the state and why voters continue to put people that manage poorly into office, it's almost always the result of rigged elections. And look, I'm not saying that there's not something funky there. Something seems off, as someone once used to say. I can't tell what's going on, but I can smell sulfur. There's something weird there. But at the same time, guys, 30,000 people showed up for Bernie Sanders. And they're going to buy into this line from the Democrats that it's the Republicans' fault. It's the Republicans' fault. And what you're going to end up with out of this session, because anytime you get Democrats together, they increase taxes and spend money on special interest groups. That's what they do. It's like putting toast in a toaster and being surprised the toast comes out, or bread in a toaster and toast comes out. You get Democrats together, and you are going to have higher taxes and more spending for special interest groups. That is what is going to happen. So, to all you Democrats listening to this show, and there's lots of you that text in that tell me I should just leave the state. I don't want to hear the complaints anymore. I don't want to hear the polls about how you're frustrated about the fact that the government doesn't work and everything's so expensive in this state. You keep electing Democrats. And even if you believe that Republicans in Congress are the result of the budget problems that we deal with, I just want you to look at what's going to come out of this special session. Look at the fruit that's going to be produced by Jared Polis and the House and Senate Democrats.
Let me twist this just for a little bit.
Hold on. You are going to pay more taxes, and you are going to have more spending for special interest groups. That's it.
Could possibly, no, not a large portion, but could a smaller portion of that dissatisfaction be from all the crazy liberals that Joe from Arvada talked about coming into our state? Could the dissatisfaction with government functioning be on the other end? That they aren't going far enough?
Yeah,
that we aren't carbon neutral yet?
No,
that
we're
I don't
not communists.
Have,
Come on.
That I don't have free health care. That I don't have free buses. That, like Mamdani in New York, we don't have state-run grocery stores that can make my prices cheaper. Are we possibly assuming that when people are talking about being dissatisfied with government, that it's all against what's happening
100%.
now, and not that there's a portion, not all of it, but there's a portion that thinks we're not going far enough?
I watch these liberal blogs, and they feel like Jared Polis and John Hickenlooper and Michael Bennett are not living up. Absolutely. Yeah. But don't complain about things being expensive. That's what happens when you put Democrats in charge. Everything gets more expensive. It's not just here in Colorado. It's everywhere. All right, we'll continue. We got Scott Shambling coming up next. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
We are Denver's talk leader. This is 710 KNUS.